This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
NEC approves submission for restructure of higher court system in PNG. Biosecurity Aquatic Laboratory Capacity Building Project launched in Port Moresby. And training workshop provided for health workers in NCD. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. The National Executive Council has approved a submission by the Ministry for Justice to restructure the higher court system of Papua New Guinea. This is a historic reform to the country's legal and judicial system. This was made known today in a media conference by Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pilar Niningi.
A thankful Minister Niningi was all smiles this morning when he made the announcement, flanked by the State Solicitor, Public Solicitor and the Solicitor General, Secretary of the Judicial Services and the Acting Secretary for the Department of Justice. In thanking the Marape Rosso government, Minister Niningi explained that this is a first-of-its-kind reform made specifically for our country's higher court system.
Now, I'm privileged to announce that the NEC has approved. Now we're certainly taking off. We have a Supreme Court. That will be the most highest court in the land. Next would be we will insert the Court of Appeal, which is next, and the bottom up is the National Court.
Under Section 155 of the Constitution, the Supreme and the National Courts are the only two higher court systems in PNG. However, under the NEC decision, the Department of Justice and Attorney General can now develop drafting instructions for a bill to amend Section 155 of the Constitution. These can now enable the establishment of another level of higher court system to be called the Court of Appeal or the Appellate Court. Minister Niningi said each level of court will have its own judge.
Whereas in the Court of Appeal, it's a Court of Appeal judges only. They won't come down or they won't go up. And the Supreme Court, likewise, the Supreme Court judges only. And the Supreme, they won't change the same judges and go up and down. This would be the thing of the past.
Furthermore, Minister Niningi highlighted one major advantage to the Court of Appeal, that it will now deal efficiently with the years of backlog cases yet to be heard. The reform higher court system will now go from the National Court to the Court of Appeal or the Appellate Court, and then to the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. Secretary for Judicial Services, Jack Carrico, also applauded the decision.
We are very pleased with the decision by the National Executive Council to approve the constitutional amendments. So as the Attorney General has mentioned, it will go through a few more of the executive government process, which is the Legislative Council, and then hopefully it will get presented in Parliament.
The decision to include the Court of Appeal in the higher court system in PNG will provide a better platform for a coherent development of our local jurisprudence. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
In the meantime, Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pilar Niningi has announced that with the approval of NEC decision to include the Court of Appeal in the country's higher court system, his department will be calling a lawyers' conference soon.
We will call judges and all lawyers throughout the country, private or public. We will have a conference, maybe a 2 days conference, and we will see this, and we will give them legal paternity and opportunity for them to contribute. It's not for us, these people sitting up here, or no other judges. It's for everybody. So everybody will be given an opportunity to commend it, criticize it, tear apart. If they have to, we have to do it. So it will be done about a month's time. We will call a conference, a lawyers' conference throughout the country to.
The Biosecurity Aquatic Laboratory Capacity Building Project was launched today in Port Moresby between the National Agricultural, Quarantine and Inspection Authority, the Australian High Commission and CSIRO Australia Centre for Disease Preparedness. This launch is a way forward for Nakia to exporting prawns as products to overseas countries.
The Aqualab CAP is a 2-year collaboration involving the Australian High Commission, Nakia and CSIRO Australian Centre for Disease Preparedness. The objectives of the project is to improve and support PNG's ability to identify and manage priority aquatic diseases and facilitating opportunities for trade in aquatic animal commodities. This was further explained by the group leader of ACDP, Dr. Nick Moody.
Contribute to improving PNG and Australia's disease preparedness, early warning system and risk reduction through strengthened aquatic animal intelligence and improved animal disease control. And contribute to improved food security, livelihood and international market access opportunities for PNG through better disease surveillance, diagnosis and control.
The first Secretary Economics of Australian High Commission, Lauren Queenan, stressed that biosecurity is a key priority area for Australia's economic development assistance to PNG. She says they want to keep the two countries safe from pests and diseases and want to support agricultural trade between the two countries.
Firstly, we've supported technical assistance through the International Finance Corporation, leading to the launch of the new biosecurity policy last July, and they're now providing support for the future passage of the biosecurity legislation. We're also supporting our Farmer Plus colleagues here today to work closely with Nakia on biosecurity awareness measures for animal diseases that could decimate PNG livelihoods and the economy.
Meanwhile, the Nakia Managing Director, Joel Alu, says this is a very important project and they already have a laboratory capacity program in relation to other pests and diseases. He said today's launching is in relation to marine products.
Especially prawns and other fishery products that we need to export to overseas markets. We had a capacity issue in relation to laboratory testing. And at the Kila Kila laboratory, we have those facilities there. So this project, funded and supported by the Australian government through its agencies, CCRO and ACDP, they are supporting us to establish this project so that we can be able to export one of the primary products, prawns to Australia. Today we have declared that the prawns disease that the Australians and New Zealand and the European markets have been scared about is declared free.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
The National Capital District Provincial Health Authority health workers are sitting a week-long survey and accreditation in Port Moresby, which started on Monday. This is part of their training to provide health workers in NCD the skills and knowledge required to do their own assessment on performance based on the suburban clinics they work in.
Improve the rest of the system.
The main purpose and aim of this workshop is for the health workers to deliver well-off quality and safety standards when it comes to health, which is required of them when delivering health services to the general public in NCD. Peter Pindan, Manager of Curative Standards and Audit with the National Department of Health, elaborates further.
When you talk about standards for this particular exercise here, we are doing the training for the purpose, internal service training, to give you some experience, the process and the knowledge and the skills that you need to know to do your own assessment as far as the performance at the low level facilities and even the Geru Provincial Hospital is concerned.
Standards including number of manpower, types of facilities, equipment and medical supplies must be observed well, with high quality of health services delivered where the outcome must be positive. CEO of the National Capital District Provincial Health Authority, Dr. Stephen Yenny, explained on the objectives of hosting this survey and accreditation workshop for health workers in NCD.
The objective of this accreditation is to look at the baseline assessment of where all our facilities are in terms of in compliance to the established standards, which is the National Health Service Standards by the Department of Health. So we are very privileged to have the team here with us for this long week of assessment, which today, yesterday and today, basically the theoretical aspect of getting our surveyors through, understanding the standards, the quality assurance surveys, what is expected of them in terms of the different criteria used in assessing our facility in NCD.
NCD Provincial Health Authority is the first to be in the country tasked by the Special Parliamentary Committee to conduct audits on its facilities. Attendees to this workshop were told to make fair analysis when making decisions on staff performance and the facilities and equipment used during service delivery based on the standards set by the National Department of Health. Other provincial health authorities in the provinces will follow suit. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The people of Motu Koitabu will soon have a state-of-the-art health facility built at Hanumabada village. This is an Australian-funded project worth 35 million kina. The unveiling of the plaque and naming of the two major wards were done yesterday, witnessed by Prime Minister James Marape and Australian Minister for International Development and the Pacific.
It was a momentous occasion for the people of Motu Koitabu yesterday. Government dignitaries were all there to witness this significant event. This health facility, once fully established and functional, will service all villages of Motu Koitabu and surrounding electorates. According to Prime Minister James Marape, this is the start of a major facelift that will happen in Motu Koitabu villages.
And I just want to announce here, in partnering the nation's capital district, in partnering Motu Koita, the Port Moresby Northwest District Development Authority and the national government will take leadership in giving uplift to the face of the villages here in the Elavala, Hanubada, Baronia, Tataka.
Australia's Minister for International Development and the Pacific, Pat Conroy, while delivering his address, acknowledged the traditional landowners and explained that although this is an Australian-funded project, local workforce has been engaged to fully carry out this project. Minister Conroy further highlighted the different facilities and services that will be provided in the Metorea Health Centre once complete.
And this centre will have a strong maternal and women's health focus, including new maternal and midwifery facilities for mothers and babies who will now have access to antenatal, birthing and child health services.
Deputy Governor for NCD and Chairman of the Motu Koitabu Assembly, Daddy Toka Jr., took the opportunity to acknowledge some prominent Motu Koitabuans who have contributed immensely towards PNG's development.
The Motu Koita legacies need to be always showcased. The Motu Koita pioneers need to be always showcased. Let's be proud of them. Let's be motivated by them. And let's be inspired by them.
Two wings that will be named after prominent Motu Koitabuans include the Dr. Akotoa Wing and the Sister Kori Mari Wing. They both were present yesterday and unveiled the plaques. Construction phase commences immediately with the completion and opening due to be in 18 months' time. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The Christian Health Services had their 53rd Annual General Assembly today at the APEC House in Port Moresby, where present was Health Minister Dr. Lino Tom. Discussions were raised concerning the health sector of Papua New Guinea.
The Christian Health Services in Papua New Guinea represents all Christian churches that provide health care, service, and health training. Each representative present today that came from various centers in the country had their own issues and concerns raised. Present to hear their concerns was the Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom. Dr. Lino Tom firstly acknowledged and congratulated the organization for coming this far.
I talk you plus and make him. I think the bulk of the health work in the country is done by you people. So me talk thank you,
He said there are bigger gaps in the health sector that needs attention, and through funding, issues can be resolved. He thanked the Marape Rosso government for allocation of funding to the health sector, which was passed in the budget last year.
There was an increase in health of 121 million. The health work of one.
The health minister assured that under his leadership, all concerns raised today in the forum will be addressed.
Planted something or some pay. I suppose you got some issues on the representation on the board and all something like Kojip Hospital and all something you making mention finish. Rest assured that we will try our best to address those things because you are the most important partner in the delivery of health services in the country.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. In a press statement today, opposition leader and member for Kenry and Gloucester, Joseph Lelang, has condemned the comments made by the Internal Security Minister, Peter Chamalili Jr., in one of the dailies, saying that police was justified to shoot dead the 16 escapees in West New Britain on Sunday. Lelang said Minister Chamalili's comments were totally irresponsible and insensitive to the grieving families and only serves to encourage police brutality against the citizens of this country. Lelang said allegations have now surfaced accusing police of brutality and cold-blooded execution of 6 of the 7 surrendered escapees at a remote beach in West New Britain province and calls for investigations. He said escapees are supposed to be apprehended and captured and returned back to prison, not killed in cold-blooded execution style. Mr. Lelang is calling on the government to quickly set up an independent inquiry into the killing and the allegations surrounding the killing of the surrendered escapees. Meanwhile, he has called on the citizens of West New Britain to remain calm. Centre for Excellence in Financial Inclusion, in partnership with Bank of PNG and other government agencies, launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2023 to 2027 yesterday at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. The NFIS 3 is aimed to alleviate poverty and stimulating economic growth in the country through financial inclusion.
The significant areas that the National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2023 to 2027 will cover was explained by the Centre for Excellence in Financial Inclusion advisor, Salia Ranasinghe, during the launching.
The National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2023 to 2027 basically outlines the building capacities, establishing partnerships, public and private sector, creating space for innovations, and using technology to reach the unreached.
National Executive Council Chief Secretary Ivan Pomalio also highlighted the importance of financial inclusion.
The government of Papua New Guinea is of the conviction that inclusive economic and sustainable growth begins with financial inclusion. We believe that financial inclusion is key to integrating the unbanked into the formal economy, which helps to alleviate poverty, make the poor less vulnerable to financial shocks, reduces economic inequality, and raises living standards for all. Vision 2050, Sustainable Development Goals, Medium-Term Development Plans.
Acting Governor of Bank of PNG, Elizabeth Gani, says the first two strategy launched have changed the landscape of financial service delivery in the country by increasing the number of new bank amounts to 3.7 million.
The NFIS 3 is all about making sure no one is left behind. That means everyone, wherever they come from, will be able to acquire the right knowledge and equipment to help move the economic growth boat. Financial inclusion is the start of all of these.
Chief Secretary Pomalio says financial services must be delivered in a responsible manner that address the need to improve businesses and the standard of living. Technical innovations will pave the way for digital financial services to many remote parts of the country and uplift living standards, and economic development would become more sustainable for people. Adding to that, the heads of financial institutions in the country signed an agreement to commit and provide financial services to the people. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Locally owned and private accommodation, which includes a lodge and apartments, is Waramini Lodge in the nation's capital, who only 2 months ago engaged or partnered with a company called PSG to provide support to the business. Owner says the company has come a long way supporting communities and providing local employment for 27 years. Operating for over 27 years now in Port Moresby is a local company, Waramini Lodge, operating in the hotel and tourism business in the country. While it has contributed to providing local employment, only recently the company partnered with another international company to help provide much needed support.
PSG was engaged a couple of months ago. We were requested to come along and help renovate the building to get it to a much higher standard. Good thing about Waramini is been in a family for 27 years, so it gave us confidence to partner with the family in renovating the lodge.
Mr. Simmons said one of the reasons why his company has agreed to partner with the local SME was because of its community obligation.
Waramini's been employing local people from the community for many years. Even when we were engaged to do the works, we were encouraged to employ some of the locals to come and do the works here, which we have, as well as our highly skilled craftsmen doing the tiling and the painting and the carpentry. We also hire some people with disabilities to do some of the work as well, which the owners of Waramini were very excited about.
He added that while the lodge is still under construction and maintenance, it is not only providing local employment for residents in the area, but also providing affordable homes or place for families to live.
Also, the rooms that we've been engaged to renovate and put new ones in, which I'm very proud to be a part of, to give working people affordable, good quality housing.
Owner of Waramini Lodge, Richard Mini, said the company has come a long way and appreciates the support provided by an international company, PSG.
We engaged Matthew coming in with this company, PSG, Pacific Servicing Group. It has helped us a lot on the maintenance and keeping the customers as well.
As the company plans to continue its services and continue its community initiative, such as providing employment, the lodge also does catering services.
Or roasted pig or that kind. So basically our menus are to do with local PNG dishes.
While the lodge offers various types of accommodation, owner of PSG, Matthew Simmons, is encouraging other local businesses to also replicate the idea of providing local employment, particularly employing Papua New Guineans. The recent log export report released by SGS, a general surveillance society, showed an increase rather than a reduction despite the PNG Prime Minister's log ban promises. This concern was raised by the community advocacy group Act Now PNG's campaign manager, Edith Tanago.
Tanago pointed out that the report by SGS on log exports contradicts the Marape government's pledge to reducing unprocessed log export volumes. Titled as Log Export and Monitoring Report December 2022, the chairman emphasized that the report showed a 10% increase in log export volume from 2021.
The recently released 2022 log export data clearly contradicts the Prime Minister's promises to end round log exports and to stop issuing new logging licenses to foreign-owned logging companies. The report shows an increase, then reduction in the log export, and shows another failed commitment by the current government.
Tanago says contradictory to the Marape government's commitment to only allowing landowners, local and provincial companies to acquire licenses to cut logs to sell, 9 new foreign log export operations started in 2022.
In addition to that, the PNG Forest Authority and the PNG Forest Board have approved 9 new projects and have been given to foreign-owned logging companies, and exports have started in 2022. Now again, this is a total contradiction to Prime Minister's promises that no new logging licenses will be given to foreign-owned logging companies. The log export data report also reveals a clear defiance of a court order by Deputy Chief Justice Kandakasi.
The Act Now PNG chairman expressed that based on the report, the current government do not seem serious about the local people getting the best benefit of the country's natural resource.
The 2022 log export data clearly shows that the current government is not serious about taking back what rightfully belongs to Papua New Guineans, and also to ensure that people get the maximum benefit out from the natural resources.
Act Now is a community advocacy organization that assists people to make their voices heard in relation to matters of national importance. Natasha Ovoy, National, EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Yokina was buying $0.2765 US, $0.4139 Australian dollars, $0.2442 euro, 36.54 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copra closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed lower. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Goilala government, under the leadership of the member for Goilala, Kashmiro Aya, allocated 51,000 sponsorship to 17 students attending the Institute of Business Studies University this year. The formalities were done today by Goilala District Chief Executive Officer Titus Girau in the absence of Goilala MP, who is on duty travel in China.
Today marks the Goilala District's pioneer education sponsorship program in accordance under the 5-year development plan. It is the first of its kind where member for Goilala, Kashmiro Aya, has set for tertiary students who are accepted to education institutions. It aims to relieve the costs parents afford in paying school fees. Also, the aim of this education sponsorship program is to help students get an education and contribute meaningfully to their communities in the district. The first batch of this sponsorship program is awarded to students attending the IBS University main campus in Port Moresby.
Main vision and aim for Honorable Aya is to, this financial support will give them this opportunity to build a career path in institutions like IBS University and all the very important universities that are providing learning experiences for all the students that are able to get enrolled.
Goilala District CEO Titus Giral further explained.
We went for people that were actually accepted by the institutions. So the preference were given to them because they earned that space with merit to enter the university.
IBS University Vice Chancellor Ram Arunachalam was pleased with the district's commitment in believing in the university to better educate the students.
All the students, they will secure with high GPA and they will trust on the amount you spend for them to contribute for the country development. Thank you so much.
Scholarship recipient Hazel Copper expressed her gratitude in being one of the successful recipients.
I'd like to say thank you to our Honorable Member for Goilala, Honorable Kasmira Haya, for helping our parents relieve their burdens by sponsoring us with 3,000 per students, and also, looking out for us as the young leader for the future Goilala development.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
A young man from a remote village in Olsobib local level government of Stab Mountains in Western Province has achieved his dream to help his people. Today, Salmon Nemalek was among the graduates who have received their diploma and degree certificates in various courses offered at the Science Faculty.
Despite the setbacks and limited learning materials, lack of road access, electricity and others in villages around Olsobib LLG, Salmon Namelok was committed to study. In 2019, he was accepted at the University of Papua New Guinea to take science courses after completing his secondary studies in 2018.
This week's graduation ceremony has brought hundreds of families and friends around the country to witness this occasion. Salman Namelok is one of the graduates who has achieved his dream.
He says working in the science field has been his dream and looking forward to working at Oktedi mining if given an opportunity.
One day I aspire to work in this, working with the Oktedi mining, so I choose to do Bachelor in Science, majoring physics. Thank you.
Salmon encourages other students from Western Province to prioritize education for better future.
Compete with the rest of the provinces. I study hard, get a good GPA, and apply to higher institutions like UPNG, Unitec, and get a good GPA, and then pass the standard.
Tears of joy and excitement were on his father and sister as they witnessed his graduation.
Very proud. I'm just overwhelmed about his achievement. And I wish him a good future for himself. And I encourage other people, especially in my own province, the people of Western, to follow his footsteps. We have very few from that region, especially the Star Mountain, Western Province. Not many cannot make it up to this level of education.
One plamanta solo family where I'm graduate one time sla bamboo name is three blumi plan. So me ama mas lalu kumbrada blumi graduate to so. Kala balu stalo witness graduation sol na ko peken. So big plus until life. Family bloom.
Today's graduation ceremony saw a total of 148 graduates from the School of Natural and Physical Sciences. Jim John, National EMTV News.
Moving to overseas news now, and operation to airlift foreign nationals out of Sudan is underway. Britain is one of the countries trying to get about 4,000 of its citizens out of the country.
RAF flights left this morning on a dangerous rescue mission. British forces had gathered earlier at their airbase in Cyprus to prepare the planes for a task which could last hours or even days, flying trapped British citizens out of Khartoum while a precarious ceasefire holds. That ceasefire came into force here in Sudan's capital overnight. Look how dark it is after 10 days of war. There's no power and precious little food or water left. By dawn, many Sudanese were already on the move, hoping to use the pause in fighting to catch buses heading out of the city. But the fighting here hasn't stopped altogether. This sound was recorded by 19-year-old Iman, a dual British and Sudanese national. She's still in hiding with 23 relatives. Across this vast country, many foreigners and locals have been making their own risky journeys to safety, some driving to the Red Sea coast. A British Navy frigate is already heading to a port here. Others have headed in the opposite direction, here to neighbouring Chad, one of many poor, conflict-ridden nations bordering Sudan.
This is our second step of evacuation.
Meanwhile, Amar Osman from Dunfermline in Scotland has already joined the crowds heading north towards Egypt. Before he left, he told the BBC he felt he had no choice but to make his own way.
I'm just going to do it myself. I'm not waiting, because I don't know. Even if they got in touch, I don't know how they're going to go about it and where they're going to meet, and so I'm just doing it myself. I think, well, I hope I've done the right decision.
Britain has faced some criticism for the way it's handled these evacuations. Too little information, too slow. But this afternoon, the Prime Minister gave an update.
We now have over 100 people on the ground in Sudan. The first flight has already left with British nationals. We have more flights this evening, and we'll have many more into tomorrow. And that is down to the hard work of lots of people, and we will keep at it. We've actually already contacted over 1,000 people in Sudan. We've spoken to hundreds. That's what the people behind me have been doing. They're making their way to the airfield, and we will safely evacuate them as quickly as we can.
But look what's left of Khartoum. A hospital here across the River Nile bombed, we understand, earlier today. Elsewhere, endless destruction, the work of two rival armies that still threaten, ceasefire or not, to tear this former British colony apart.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Panamex Pacific PNG Limited, in conjunction with its 50th anniversary celebration in the country, has hosted a 5-day soccer tournament in Lae, which started this morning. The tournament, held at the Lae Football Association grounds and known as the Panamex Community Cup Battle of the Clubs, features 3 top teams from Lahi, Lae and Morabe football associations within Lae who will battle out for the top spot.
Panamex Battle of Clubs match commissioner Gidas Beyung says the teams who participated are divided into 2 pools and 5 games are expected to be played a day.
Each team will play 4 games each. So only top two teams from each pool will proceed to semi-final and finals.
He says each team will play 4 games each, and the top 2 teams from each pool will play off in the semi-finals and to the grand final on Sunday.
we have two pools, Tupla pool. Pool A and West FC, Sobo FC, Ley 11 FC, Wawens FC, Umayong FC. Pool B and Poro FC, Centas FC, Lusco FC, PS United FC, and Panamex FC. And Tupla pool. We have 5 days. We plus start now Wednesday, 5 games today, 5 games on Thursday, 5 games on Friday, 5 games on Saturday. We complete pool games, and then semi-final and finals will be on Sunday.
Panamex Pacific PNG National Sales and Marketing Manager Ronald Ram confirmed that the company has plans to support this competition on in the future. Ram says they are planning on expanding this competition into the rural districts of Morobe and also to other parts of the country to have best teams from the provinces to compete in the Battle of the Clubs. The competition is an initiative of Panamex Pacific PNG Limited, who has been supporting sports in Morobe and the country for over 20 years. The competition is a way of celebrating the company and 39's success with the community for the last 50 years. Natasha Ovoy, Chukai Sports.
And Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports now, and in NRL, Luke Keary's bid helped the Sydney Roosters to a nail-biting victory over Dragons.
Up by 16 points with 30 minutes left to play, the Roosters all of a sudden appeared gone when Tyrell Sloan turned it on for the Dragons, helping them draw level at 26 apiece. Enter Ashton Collier medal recipient Keary, who nailed a field goal with 6 minutes left on the clock, giving the Roosters the 1-point win. Later on, the Storm, well, they were too good for the New Zealand Warriors, securing a thrilling 30-22 win and stretching their winning streak over the New Zealand-based outfit to 14 games. The match was in the balance until star Storm hooker Harry Grant muscled over the line with 4 minutes left on the clock.
And that ends Chukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, chances of evening showers and possible thunderstorm. Daru, occasional rain showers and possible thunderstorm. Kerema, few evening showers and possible thunderstorm. Alatau and Popondetta, evening rain showers and possible thunderstorm.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 26th of April, 2023. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.